Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing some meal prep. I go back to work on Monday, so I've got some stuff I want to get ready ahead of time. So we have some crock pot meals and some freezer meals. So let's get to it. So the first thing I'm going to get started on is going to be my breakfast casseroles. So I like to use freezer potatoes just because it's a lot easier than cutting up fresh potatoes, and I get them started in the pan very first because they do take longer to cook. Now you can use any type of meat if you wanted to cook bacon or sausage. I'm using sausage. I've also done this with diced ham, and that was really good as well. So whatever you like. So as I was working on this, I noticed my daughter had actually colored with green marker on my puppy's head, so that was a great surprise.
What about me? I'm a dog. What about me, Mom? What about me? What about me? What about me? What about me?
You're a bad dog. So right now I was mixing the eggs with some milk as if I was going to start scrambled eggs, but I'm actually just going to pour this mixture into the cooked potatoes and start sauteing it. And then after that is cooked, I will add the sausage into the potatoes. So as I was thinking about going back to work, I definitely wanted to make it easier for me. I do like to make freezer meals a lot. It's something I do pretty frequently. So I've kind of figured out things that work for my family and things that don't. Now, for a while, I was doubling the recipes I was making, and honestly, that did not work for my family. We get so sick of eating the same thing over and over, and with these meals, a lot of the times I end up with leftovers. So although right now I'm making 2 trays of the breakfast casseroles, they are slightly different. And later on, when I make the Mexican taco soups, they're slightly different as well. I just cannot do doubles because they end up sitting in the freezer for too long, but you have to do what's right for your family. Just for us, that didn't work. So right here, I actually was only using one hand. My baby had just woken up and I was struggling because the pot kept spinning, but I made it work. So little miss is awake. We are going to take a break. I'm gonna go ahead and feed her, give my other little girl some lunch, and then I will get back to it in a little bit. So we eat our freezer meals pretty quickly, but if yours are going to be in the freezer for a while, I would recommend covering them with saran wrap and then foil. I just put the foil on top because mine don't stay in the freezer for too long, but that is something you can do to help them last a little bit longer. Okay, so for the chicken food, I'm gonna actually label my bags now because I've made the mistake of not labeling them before I put the food in, and it's a pain to label them once their food is already in them. So, pro tip, make sure you label your bags first. So for the sesame chicken lettuce cups, I first need to cut the chicken into bite-sized pieces. It costs for 2 pounds. So I got these from Sam's Club, and the chicken breasts are huge. So I'm probably only gonna need to use 2 of them because they're just so large. That'll probably give me 2 pounds. So I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna go ahead and mix the cornstarch in with the chicken. I've made these before, and this is literally so delicious. I really love this recipe, so I'll make sure to link it down below for you guys because it's super duper good. Stirring's not really working. I'm gonna seal the bag and just shake it because that's gonna be easier. And then when you freeze this, I'll make the sauce in a second. You put it in a different baggie, and then you just freeze it all together. It's really good. So this is just cornstarch on the chicken. If you didn't want your freezer bag to get super messy like this, you could always just do this in whole, but I don't want more dishes. So this is mixed. I'm gonna go ahead and make the sauce now. So the sauce is honey, soy or tamari sauce. I'm gonna use soy sauce. Minced garlic, sesame seeds, and red pepper flakes. So I'm gonna mix that in a bowl, whisk it together, put it in a Ziploc bag, pop that in there, and then that's ready to go in the freezer. So actually, before I start on that sauce, I'm gonna put this in the bag for the French dip sandwiches, just so I can clear off some space. It calls for 6 boneless chicken breasts, but these are huge chicken breasts, so I'm just gonna do, this is 4. I'm gonna do 4 of them. the garbage. So for this recipe, it's a 1/4 cup of honey, a tablespoon of soy sauce, a teaspoon of minced garlic, a teaspoon of sesame seeds, and a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, and it is delicious. Naturally, as I was watching this back, I realized I forgot to add the red pepper flakes. So this is what it looks like. I guess in theory, you could just mix this in the baggie. Next time I'll probably do that instead of mixing it in the bowl and then just dirtying it for no reason. But I'm gonna put it in a baggie now, and then this meal will be ready. So sauce is done. I'm gonna get the air out. So right here I was cutting the onion up for the chicken French dip sandwiches. Now it said to use half a large onion, but I just used one small onion instead. And I was really struggling getting the skin off of this onion. I don't know why. I don't know if you guys have any tips for peeling skin off onions. I ended up just taking the whole top layer off. But if you have any tips for me, please let me know in the comments below. So for this recipe, aside from the onion, it's 2 teaspoons of butter, a can of beef broth, a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, a tablespoon of minced garlic, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of parsley, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and a 1/4 teaspoon of thyme. So that's what I was just adding into the freezer bag. And then the last thing I have to add is beef broth. So I'm gonna pour about half this. This is 32 ounces and it calls for 14, so. Okay, so the next recipe that I'm making is taco casserole. So, or not taco casserole, taco soup. So I have my ground beef mixture that I made last night. It's just ground beef and onions. I didn't put any seasoning in this while I made the meat. My daughter is actively trying to get in camera. Come here, come here, come here, come here. Say hello.
Hello, my name's Aspen.
My name's Aspen. Okay,
I'm gonna sit on the counter.
No, you're not gonna sit on the counter. Go play. So, yeah, this is just ground beef and onions. I actually have 2 pounds of ground beef here. I'm not gonna put all this in here. I'm just gonna do half of it, so a pound. And then I have canned corn, canned pinto beans, canned black beans. I'm actually gonna use 2 types of tomatoes. So I have fire roasted tomatoes, and I'm going to try these stewed Mexican recipe tomatoes. So I'm gonna do both of those and then some diced green chilies. If you do not like spice, do not add these. I'm gonna just add about half. My daughter is pretty good with spice, but I don't wanna put too much and make it too spicy. I also have ranch seasoning. Now I use this a lot, so I have a big jar of it, but you could just buy a single packet. And then same thing with taco seasoning. I buy it in a big container because I use it frequently. If you don't use it a lot, just buy 1 packet. So you just need 1 packet of taco seasoning, 1 packet of ranch seasoning, and then whatever variety of beans and vegetables that you want in it. And then it's really easy. I'm just gonna put it all in the bag. So I made 2 pounds of the meat without realizing what I was gonna do with the second half of it. So I'm actually gonna just do another of the taco soups, but this time I have different beans just because I didn't have the Mexican ones. So I'm gonna do black beans, red kidney beans, chili beans, corn, fire roasted tomatoes, and beef broth. So I'm gonna put those in a bag and then we'll get to it. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna make is an easy frozen lasagna. So all you need is ravioli. This is just a frozen, I got the family size because there's a lot of this, ricotta and marinara sauce. So I'm gonna layer it in the tray and that's it. So in retrospect, this tray was way too small for the amount of food I was putting in it. It got stacked way too high. I would rather, instead of using 8x8, see if I can get a 13x8, if that's like the rectangular dimensions. I don't know the dimensions of all of the food trays, but the more rectangular one instead of the square would be a lot better for the amount of raviolis I had, because it ended up getting stacked pretty high. So I'm just covering this up so it can get frozen, and then I'm gonna get started on some wraps. I just used tortillas with salami, turkey, and cheese. I don't recommend freezing them with any sort of condiments on them because they just don't freeze very well if you put mayonnaise or anything on them. I ended up putting these just in the fridge because I was going back to work the next day. So these are just something quick and easy that I can grab straight out of the fridge and they're already ready. I have frozen them before though, and they've thawed really great and they were really good in the freezer too. So whatever works for you. Alright guys, well I hope that you enjoyed this video and you got some inspiration before you head back to work if you just had a baby as well. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited to go back. If you like videos like this, make sure that you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next Sunday for our next video.